Ready? It's rolling.
All right, how we doing, everybody? I hope you're having a good day this week. We had a great time today. We've had a lot of fun. We've been going to California Adventureland today. We enjoyed the ride, one of the best rides ever. It was rated 10 by the California Disneyland Tour Company.
Right.
It was fast too, but it was really good. I mean, especially to go up and down those hills like that, and your body lifts up and off the chair. So that was good. You had to take our hats off because it was so windy and going so quick. We were afraid to lose our hats and stuff.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. The different you're talking about the Radiator Springs ride.
Right.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. That was a fun ride. So we started off our day doing our All for Sci-Fi live stream to YouTube and having our first ever trivia game, which was just awesome, guys. It was just a lot of fun.
Very awesome.
And then we're of course live on YouTube to do the podcast portion of it.
Yes, we are. So we're going to try to get that as best we can.
Right.
We're in a different location today. We're up here in the Hungry Bear restaurant doing our broadcast. So if there's a little bit of noise background, we're sorry about that. There's a train going by.
Yeah.
And we have a ship going by here later, so we don't know if we'll get that noise. But hey, we're enjoying ourselves.
We are. We're waiting for people to show up on the podcast.
We're just waiting for people to show up. And we can do things. And,
right.
Let's see. We're going to talk about the Mandalorian. Give it a recap for the whole season. We'll tell you some sci-fi news that's out right now. It's coming out next 2 weeks.
Yep.
Let's see what else. I gotta think because I'm getting old.
Don't say that. You keep saying it. I keep telling you, stop calling your. I keep telling you, Captain Richter, stop calling yourself old. All right, dude.
Okay, I will.
All right.
So anyway, I always have a great time when I come down here to Disneyland. I know Virginia keeps firing me all the time, but hey, what can I say?
Well,
I try to do the best I can, Virginia.
Right.
You got to remember, it was a kid. I was a kid the last time I was down here, and this is all new to me. So a lot of these rides and stuff like that, and I enjoy every one of them. Even with the arthritis and stuff I have in my body, I still enjoy whatever I do. I don't limit myself to nothing. I'll do whatever I can. I don't care how bad it's going to hurt me or not the next day. I'm going to do it anyway because that's just the way I am. I enjoy rides. I enjoy roller coasters. I enjoy any type of ride that will come up, except for the one that's going to tilt with the parachute. That is not for me. I've had that already, that experience, and I don't want to have to experience it again. Trust me.
What was it? A parachute?
Parachute ride, yeah. But I experienced one while I was in the Army 3 times and passed my class without breaking a bone. Thank God on that part.
And what happened? Did you jump out of an airplane or something?
I jumped out of a small plane the first time.
Right.
Medium plane the second time, and a big C5 the third time. At 15,000 feet. 5,000. Let's see. It was 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 feet. That was the 3 jumps we had to do. The biggest one I ever did was 30,000 feet.
You jumped out of a 30,000?
I jumped out at 30,000 feet in the air to land in a country that we're not even supposed to be in. But anyway, that's another story.
I can't believe you jumped out of a plane 30,000 feet.
Trust me, I don't believe it myself either, but I did do it. Sorry.
We're also trying this newer microphone, guys. It's more of a directional microphone, so maybe I hope you could hear, everybody let us know if you could hear Captain Richter a little bit clearer.
Yeah.
Because we're trying that, this newer microphone. So
last time I was a little soft and talking, it sounded like when I played it back. So hopefully this time you can hear me a lot better. If my voice is kind of raspy because I've been sick for the last couple of days, so I'm trying to get over a cold right now.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I feel much better than I had in the last 2 days. So just rest's all I need.
Yeah. Everybody says Mike has joined us. Hi, Mike. Exploring with Mike has joined us. Hi. He says everything sounds good.
Oh, great. That's great.
Okay, so what we're going to do today, guys, is we're going to go ahead and do a entire season recap of The Mandalorian. So we're going to do...
That's a great season.
Yeah, so we're going to recap the entire season of The Mandalorian. we're also going to talk about what we have coming up in sci-fi news, what's coming up here, what we got to look forward to in the future as well. We'll also take your questions as well. So, guys, please, we're looking at you on YouTube, so be sure to give us any kind of questions you want.
Yeah, most definitely. That way we can answer them for you to the best of our ability.
Yep.
We will we'll even put them on the screen so we can actually see them ourselves and we can answer the question.
Yeah, and again, guys, this is a new thing for us. We're learning this technology. What we're finding out is we need more people to help us. I'm here trying to switch. I'm trying to talk to you guys and do the podcast, and I'm trying to edit and switch back and forth with the two cameras. And we're also trying to look at your comments down below at the same time. So we're going to get better. We're going to get better.
Yeah, it's hard, but we're going to definitely get better over time.
That's true.
We do have a couple of good things. We will be in LA?
No, Pasadena Comic Con.
Pasadena Comic Con next weekend, isn't it?
It's on. You're right. It's next Sunday.
Next Sunday, we'll be there.
Yep.
Doing live streaming there.
Yeah. We're going to be at Pasadena Comic Con next Sunday. We're going to do a live stream. We're going to walk through the entire Comic Con. It is a smaller Comic Con out here in California. It's in Pasadena.
Right.
And so we'll be there next Sunday. But before that, next Saturday, we're going to have our live stream from Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland from 10 a.m. until 1 o'clock. And then we'll also have our trivia game contest, so you could win a prize as well.
Yes. And then we'll come back on again at 2:15 in the afternoon because we have to get lunch and we have to get the thing set up so we can actually, make sure everything's working perfectly for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, we realized that we needed to wait a little bit longer, guys, before we actually come. So after, we'll do the podcast portion, like he mentioned, at 2:15, maybe 2:30, which is the time that we were doing the podcast anyway, usually.
That's definitely true. And we also give our the second prize out for the second week that we're going to have on the next one for trivia questions and stuff like that.
Yes. Yeah.
And it won't be how many times I go to the restroom either.
No, it's not going to be that. It's not going to be the trivia question.
Or how many times I get lost without looking for him. He's got to put what do you call those things? A little chain on me so I don't get lost half the time.
We got to put on the Captain Rickster Rickster Galactic GPS.
Yes, that's
from
true.
From Galaxy's Edge. No, in all seriousness, guys, it's always a pleasure to come to you guys and do these podcasts. As you can see, the ship is coming by us. Let me pan over. Watch. You probably hear them in the background.
Yeah, they're coming over right now.
See the ship?
There they are. So.
See the ship? They're about ready to fire the warning shot.
Yeah, we're probably going to get it.
So the pirates are over there, right here, because we're doing this live right here in Disneyland.
Yes,
let's look there. Here we go. They're going to fire the cannon. Ready?
Give it a second.
Give it a second. It'll happen.
It's going to be something if you're not prepared for it, you make it jump.
Yeah, true.
Anyway.
Wait a minute. Oh, I wanted him to fire the cannon.
There he goes.
There he goes.
The cannon.
There goes the cannon. We wanted to get that going before we get started. But yeah, next Saturday, make sure you join us because we're going to have our second trivia contest. It's going to be another gift. We haven't decided what the gift is going to be. This week, congratulations is to Dante, who won the Sabat cards. Congratulations, Dante. I'm going to get your address from you, and he answered the question correctly, and his name came out of the hat. So we're going to go ahead and Dante, we're sending you your Sabat cards. Congratulations, not only on winning the very first trivia game contest. Congratulations. So next week we'll have another prize, and we got a lot to talk about, Captain Rickster, coming up. What's coming up sci-fi news-wise?
The new Picard's coming up. We also
That's right.
Got
new
the
Picard.
New season 3 for Discovery is coming up. Star Trek Discovery, right?
Star Trek Discovery.
Back up too.
Yeah. Star Trek Discovery comes out January 18th.
Yes.
And then we have the new Picard series, which comes out when?
The week before.
No, it's after.
No, a week after it comes. Yeah,
23rd, I think.
23rd, yes.
Yeah. So we have the Picard series, Jean-Luc Picard, Star Trek, coming out on the 23rd.
Yes.
We got a lot of sci-fi stuff coming out this month.
No kidding.
So we got 2 different Star Trek series coming out this month, which is great. So sci-fi wise, we also got a few sci-fi movies on Netflix, which we're going to review as well, and we'll go over that.
That's definitely true.
So we got that, and of course everybody's waiting for The Mandalorian, and that's where we're here. We're going to talk today. We're going to talk about Mandalorian season 1. So we're going to go ahead and do a recap of all the episodes on the first season.
I'm real sad because the second season doesn't come out until November. I wish they would come out a little earlier instead of November. But, you know, it's whatever they do.
That's true,
What can we say, you know? I mean, they're filming it probably right now for the new season.
They're almost done, I think.
I hope there's more than eight episodes. I like to see at least 9 or 10.
Yeah. That was the thing that upset me, was that the episodes, it was only 8 episodes. Come on, guys, that's a full season.
I know.
We need at least 10. At least with the other shows are giving us 10 episodes. But The Mandalorian, for whatever reason, I don't know, maybe it's harder to produce or whatever. Let's go over to YouTube and see if anybody, see who's joined us on YouTube. Okay, so Mike, welcome to the YouTube
station.
Also, Rylan Bird. Hey, Rylan,
hey,
back.
Ryan,
Welcome back. He congratulated Dante.
All right.
Yeah.
Rylan, it was nice to have you here when we were here when you were here last week with us. We had a lot of fun. I enjoyed your company. Hope you can come out again with your wife so we can actually take her also. And we can show her around also how much fun we had that day. You know, I like to see you, bug-eyed like you were last time, which was really good.
Hey, by the way, we have a lot of video, guys, that we're going to be posting in the next few months. And if you get a chance, go back to our live stream 2 weeks ago. Actually, it was last week. It wasn't 2 weeks ago. No, last week, our live stream, we had Rylan Bird, who is helping his brother move to Orange County from Utah. Yep. And we joined him here, and it's such a pleasure to see a Star Wars fan explore Galaxy's Edge for the first time.
Or even Disneyland for the first time, too.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It's been the first time for him for a long time before he's been out here to Disneyland. I mean, he enjoyed everything. Star Tours, Star Wars.
Well, the new Star Tours, they just changed now the new Star Tours ride is based on the Rise of Skywalker. So they have changed Star Tours. It's a new adventure based on the Rise of Skywalker. So Rylan got to see that as well. So if you want to, you can always go back, not now, but go back and look at our last week's live stream. And it was great, guys. And again, to see a Star Wars fan get goosebumps and get emotional, it just brings us back to why we all love Star Wars to begin with. We all really do.
Most definitely. In fact, I went back, saw Star Wars, the new one, out second time, so I could actually...
You saw Rise of Skywalker again.
Yeah, so I can see what I missed, and I missed the emotional parts of the thing, and I got emotional in that movie this time.
You went without me, dude?
Well, you went without me before. You took your nephews with you last time. You didn't even take me, so you know what comes around goes around.
Sad
you can
now.
be sad all you want to, but
I'm sad now. He went to see the Rise of Skywalker without me. Oh, boo-hoo. Okay. Speaking of that,
little boys are,
Speaking of that, I gave that sad face earlier. If you look at the earlier live stream, not this podcast, I gave a sad face to the worker, the cast member, and she let me in, I had a pass.
The Roger Rabbit one.
Yeah.
That was cool.
So my sad face worked on her.
Yeah, but the only problem with that right there, we spent half the time backwards, so we didn't get everything and see everything either in that ride.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, let us know about the sound, too. Sometimes we can't tell if the sound is off or not. I know last week when we were watching the stream, the sound was off in the beginning. Then later in the episode, it became fine. The sound was good.
Yes, it did, yes.
There was nothing wrong with it.
There's nothing wrong with the sound that came later on. And I don't know if we lost any. I know we lost a couple of times and got reconnected again. It must be around here somewhere. There must be some dead zones in this place.
Yeah, not only dead zones. But again, this is all a work in progress, guys. We're trying to figure this out, this technology. But we want to give you guys great content. We want to have you guys have a reason to come and enjoy what we do, what we talk about. And so we're always going to try to improve everything and, just provide a good show for you guys.
Especially if you come here on a Saturday, we can actually show you around. you know, and have a good time
Yes.
together. That's
Yes.
what we like, you know.
We would love to do that.
Oh,
so the call is out. Anybody that watches, any of our All for Sci-Fi fans that are watching our live stream here at Disneyland, hit us up, DM us, to send us a private message when you're going to be in Disneyland so we could plan ahead. And Captain Rickster and I would love to show you guys around like we did Ryland, by the way.
Oh,
so.
Of course. We would love to see your reaction to everything around here. If you've never been here before and it's your first experience, you're going to definitely enjoy this place and want to come back again.
Sure, for sure.
Yep.
And okay, let's go, Captain Rickster. Let's go ahead and get started with talking about The Mandalorian season 1.
Yes.
They had 8 episodes. The first episode was the pilot.
Yes.
That pilot was directed by Dave Filoni.
That's right.
And in the original pilot, it starts off with us getting to know a little bit about the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I think the pilot for me was probably the second best episode out of the whole series.
It was. I believe the same thing too. There's only 3 episodes we gave 5 stars to.
Right.
So
the pilot got a 5-star.
Pilot got a 5-star. The last one didn't get a 5-star. It got a 4.75.
Right.
The third one got a 5.
Right. There was 4 of them that got 5 stars, I think. Right? No, 3 of them.
3, I believe.
Yeah. Anyway, so and after that, it goes into the second episode about the original sin. In that he starts off trying to. He is already at the end of the last episode. The first episode is him. We're getting to meet who the Mandalorian is.
Right.
We get to meet the Mandalorian. We get to meet Grief Karga.
Right.
And he's accepting bounties and he's dumping off the bounties that he's already gotten.
Right.
Actually, it starts off with him in kind of like a Hoth planet.
Right.
He's on this ice world, and the first cameo by a major celebrity is in the first episode. It was the guy who played in The Big Bang Theory.
Right.
He was in it. I'm bad with names, guys, but the gentleman in The Big Bang Theory.
He
I
can't
did
speak.
it again.
Yeah, he's like me. He can't speak. He gets tongue-tied like I do every so often. And I have an excuse. I got hardly any teeth.
Yeah. Anyway, it started off with him, and then he says the very first line that we all are going to remember, that we're going to get that line on T-shirts. He says, you have two options. You could come with me warm, or you could come with me cold.
Yes.
It's your choice.
That's right.
And that was just an awesome episode.
Yes.
The gentleman decided to go warm, and then he was messing around on his ship, so he ended up going in cold anyway.
That's
so
right.
he brings his bounty back. He drops him off to Grief Karga, and then Grief Karga he's asking for something else. And Grief, the one thing he had only got like 5,000 credits or something like that. Not very much.
He didn't want it.
And he didn't want it. So Grief Karga has a client, just known as the Client, who's played by Werner Herzog. Wonderful actor.
That's right.
And so he tells him it's off books. You need to go there. He goes, give me the puck. There is no bounty puck. He has to go meet with him about the job. So he goes and meets with the Client. And when he meets with the Client, again, he's asking for a puck. He doesn't have one.
That's true.
All he could give him is the age of the child.
The age of the child.
Well, he doesn't say it's a child.
No, he didn't.
We don't know that at that moment.
We didn't know that point. He was a baby. 40 years old is in that. I guess in that creature is not. It's still a baby, not old enough.
Right.
But that baby was cute.
Well, they didn't say it was a baby.
No, but
the only thing he got
later.
We figured that out at the end of the first episode that it's a child. When he goes to go and get the bounty.
Right.
And all he's told is the Client's 50 years old. So he's thinking that it could be this fully grown person.
Right.
So during those exploits, he runs into Queel.
Queel.
I said the name wrong. Now,
it's Queel.
At the end of all the Mandalorian episodes, he finally, because he's calling him an Ugnaught.
Yeah.
He goes, I got a name. My name is Queel.
Yeah, Queel.
And that's still a difficult name to pronounce. It's either Queel or Queel. I don't know.
It's Queel.
So anyway, so he gets help from him, and as he's helping, getting help from Quill. Quill basically tells him he's got to ride a blurg, and the blurg, those are creatures that came from the Ewok movies.
That's right.
So now we got Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni in the very first episode introducing creatures from the Ewok movies. So the Blurgs were in Ewoks: The Battle for Endor.
Right.
They were what the Marauders used to transport, and they also rode them, but they used to transport the Ewoks that they captured when they had the battle with the Marauders. And okay, and also we get, and it's, you guys have already said it down here, we get another very famous line, and that line is from Quill.
Quill.
Come on.
Let me think. Oh.
See if he gets it.
Oh, geez. I'm going to say I said that,
close.
but it's not it.
You're so close. You're so close, Captain Rickster.
It's on my mind somewhere.
It's I have spoken.
Spoken, that's right. I have spoken.
So Quill always says, I have spoken after he's done speaking. So
that's his final word.
So that's great that we get the, so what, that's awesome that we're getting, what better can you have than have Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni? Thank you guys.
Yes,
you both are big Star Wars fans.
Definitely.
You're fans of the movies I was in, Caravan of Courage and Ewok movies. By the way, John, if you want me for any, I'm not asking for a part, but I would come back and do a small role if for the fans. If you wanted to put me in a stormtrooper outfit and have me shoot at a paper bag and not hit it.
Yeah, really, huh? Man, I couldn't believe those guys couldn't hit a barn. I don't know how they were ever practicing that one. They would never admit it in real life. Jesus.
Yeah, if you guys only knew about Captain Rickster's history, we're not going to discuss that. But he can hit a paper bag.
Yes, I can hit a paper bag.
But John and Dave and even Deborah Chow, you guys are all great directors, and even the other director, and even the IG-11, Takwiti, he's a director too. Any of you guys want me to do a quick cameo for the fans? Even though I'm not acting, music is my passion right now. I would love to do it, just to do that. So
it would be great to have him in there.
Thank you,
It'd be great to have him in there because he was in the Star Wars in the '80s, so why not bring him back as a character? Any type of character would be good. Well, it had to be a big part, just a small part.
No, it's just a quick, walking on and off part. I don't care. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get back to the video. Okay, so before he figures out that the 50-year-old client is the child, the baby, Yoda.
Yes, baby Yoda.
We just said what it was.
Yeah, baby Yoda.
Before we figure that out, IG-11, a bounty hunter, IG-11, shows up and shooting up the place like crazy.
Oh, of course. And then shoots him by accident. Or maybe on purpose. Who knows?
I don't know.
But anyway, Mandalorian claim, I'm with the Guild.
Guild.
Yeah, Guild?
Yeah, the Guild is who collect bounty hunters.
Oh, yeah, he's from the Guild.
Yeah,
and so the IG said something.
No, he's spouting off, part of the Guild's, the stuff you have to, under the Guild, or, great part, great job done on all that. Even the actors that did all the performance on set of even Quill.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe that on set that was an actor performing, and Nick Nolte wasn't even on set.
That's right.
He just did the voiceover.
That's what he did.
So.
Also had a face. Looks like his face was on there too, because it kind of looked old and droopy.
Right. That's true.
So that wasn't too bad.
Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah,
we're just going back and forth. We're going to get this system better, but sorry it bounced a little bit on you. But okay, so at the end of the episode, anyway, they get in a big firefight. They get trapped, and then eventually they get out of it, and the Mandalorian grabs back one of those big repeater rifles, which those rifles remind me of the ones that were in the second Ewok movie where they blew up Mace. That reminded me of that. I don't think it's the same blaster, but it reminded me of that.
Close to it.
Yeah. So they finally are able to shoot their way out, and they finally get inside of there, and then they see that it is a child.
Yeah, after they find out what it was, because they had to kill one person inside too that was also in there. But then they found I guess you want to call it a basket or a baskinette or whatever.
Yeah, it was like a little baby crib almost.
Little baby floating crib, I would say, I guess. And
yep.
When they open it up, there was a baby in there.
Yeah, and the IG says a good line like different species age differently. They have their own time frame.
That's right. Yes.
Right. Which is an important thing to note.
Yes.
So and then the IG wants to bring him in dead.
That's right.
So the Mandalorian looks at him
and secretly pulls out his weapon and blows a hole in his head, which is kind of cool.
It is cool. It is cool that the Mandalorian, for the first time, he shows us his heart.
Yes.
When he looks down at the child and he stops it, and it kind of gives us a hint at what's going to happen in future episodes.
Right. It does. Yes, it does.
So that's how it ends on a cliffhanger. You see the IG-11 fall down, and you see him leave with the baby off into space, and then the episode ends. So he hasn't delivered his bounty yet.
No.
The next episode starts with them in the ship.
Yes.
They're in the ship, and Grief Karga has a transmission congratulating the Mandalorian on getting the client's bounty so quickly, the child so quickly.
Yes.
And so he's excited. So he's already got a transmission. What that reminded me of, Captain Rickster, if you listen to some of me talk about getting my role in the Ewok movies, it kind of reminds me that in the Star Wars universe as well as here on Earth, word travels fast.
Yes, it does. And real fast.
Yeah, and the fact that he knew that already that quickly,
that was quick.
Yeah.
Yes.
What it reminded me of, and I've said this in a few other interviews, guys, is I did a screen test. I did a screen test to get the Ewok movies, and I thought I shared this in other interviews, but I'm going to share this with you guys today. I did a screen test to get the part in Caravan of Courage, the Ewok movie, and at the end of the day, we had finished, and they say, can you guys wait outside and give us a few minutes so we could discuss it with ourselves and the producer. I still didn't know that this producer was George Lucas, by the way.
That's right, yes.
And I went to the bathroom. Then I came out of the bathroom, and this was in Mill Valley. John Cordy, who is the director of the Ewok movies, his office was Cordy Films, and it was in Mill Valley.
Right.
So I came out, and John Cordy met me in the kitchen, and he congratulated me on getting the part. They had told me there in that moment I got the part.
That's right.
Before I got on the plane and flew back to California. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is I didn't tell anybody that I got the part.
Oh, yeah.
I got on the plane, flew from San Francisco back to Los Angeles. I had 2 messages on my answering machine congratulating me on getting the part already. And I hadn't told anybody about it.
Somebody did.
Somebody did.
Somebody leaked it out and you got it.
I don't know how that happened. One of them was from my agent. One was from a friend. How did they know? Unless the agent told them.
That would be the only way.
But that's just like in the Star Wars universe on The Mandalorian.
Everybody knows everything.
Yes.
The word travels quick.
It does. It sure does.
I was surprised that he even knew that he had the child already. And I love to know how he got word on that one.
Yeah. How did that? Yeah. Well, unless he checked in maybe and they just let us assume that that's how they knew.
Yeah.
Okay. So on episode 2, he's already taking the child back and delivering him to the client. He goes and heads and he delivers him to the client. Then he goes back to the bar with Grief and everybody. And all along the way, guys, we're getting the best cameos we've ever got. We see Jawas on the streets. We see the Kowakian monkey lizards. They're being becoming barbecue.
Yeah, barbecue lizards.
Yeah. So and anyway, so the Mandalorian goes back, and guys, there's something pulling at his heartstrings. He's worried. Even before he leaves and takes his Beskar steel, he gets this whole big suitcase of Beskar steel, and that's like gold in their universe.
Yes.
So even
he took that stuff to his underground people, and they made him a new whole new suit.
Yeah.
Out of that stuff.
They fixed up his armor, so he got some of that done, and guys, it's really at his heartstrings, and he before he leaves and accepts the money, he asks what they're going to do with the child, and of course the client's like, "You're violating all the regulations of the guild. What are you talking about?
That's right.
You know, either take the money or what? You've already done a contract and an agreement, and this is the way it is."
That's
so,
true.
Anyway, he does take it, as Captain Richter said. He then takes the Beskar steel underground.
That's right. And have himself a new suit of armor made because his old armor was coming apart for being shot so many times.
Right.
If you remember that in the first series, in
Uh-huh.
the first season, that's the first season, but the first episode, you see that his armor was getting shot up because he was in that fight.
Right.
So
yes.
He needed new armor.
Yes.
And that's what they did. They made him a whole new armor because he's a part of the guild down below.
Well, no, what he's part of down below is it's the of course his people. The Mandalorians are in hiding, and they're down below. They have their own covern down below where they're hiding, and we get to know a little bit more about Mandalorians and how they act and what their creed is and how they behave. And the person that Captain Richter was mentioning is called an armorer.
Yeah,
it's a female character.
Emily
Swallow plays that part. She does it well. Great job, Emily.
Yes.
So, and he gets he doesn't get the whole suit done. He gets like some shoulder stuff. And a new vest thing.
Right.
And so, after that, he's thinking about it again.
Right.
And what happens after that?
Oh, he goes to his ship. And he was about ready to take off, and he changed his mind because he didn't know what was going to happen to that little baby, and he was showing, I want to say an interest. I think he's probably showing a little interest in that kid.
Right.
Just to see what's going to happen in real life.
Right.
So he goes back in there, and he starts shooting up the guards and steals the baby, which is against the guild's guide. They can't do that. It's part of the rules. You're not supposed to take the merchandise away from the person who bought it.
Right.
And renege on what you did because you can't return all the metal that he was given to.
Exactly.
So what's he do? He fights his way back out. And then,
so he's like Captain Richter was saying. He's just fighting his way.
Yeah.
And he's not supposed to be doing all this stuff. And he fights his way out. And then, because he took the child, the bounty hunter, the thing that's connected to him, the device or whatever they have to find him, all of them start going off because he came back out.
Yeah.
So all of the bounty hunters are alerted. So they all, even after he shoots his way out, all the bounty hunters surround him with Greek Karga at the end of this episode. Right. And all of them are in the Greek Karga saying, "What are you doing? You're not supposed to be doing this. You're not supposed to be taking money and then doing that. You're breaking the rules and stuff like that." So the best part of this episode happens at that moment.
Oh yes, it was.
When?
Yep.
And this is episode 3.
No.
Episode 3, because episode 2 he's shooting. Is this still episode 2?
That's episode 2.
Okay. Wow, there's so much going on.
Yes.
So, anyway, he has to shoot his way out.
Right.
And then, which he can't do. He's trapped.
He's trapped.
And he's going to die. And then
all his people,
all the Mandalorians come to his rescue. They come flying down. Yep. Everything we've always wanted to see from the cartoon series, when we see Mandalorians flying with their jetpack on Mandalore, and it was so glorious.
Yes, it was.
And in this episode, we meet the heavy infantry Mandalorian, the heavy infantry, the big bad dude.
Yep.
Oh, we're at Disneyland, and the guns are going off again.
Yep.
But we get to. It's just. I have that new Mandalorian, by the way. Can you hand it to me? That new heavy infantry Mandalorian is glorious. So all his people come to the rescue, and it's amazing, guys, what happens. It's just.
This him?
Yeah, here it is. Here he is, right here, the heavy infantry Mandalorian. Look at that. Look at his jetpack. try not to hit the table, please.
Try not to.
And look at his gun. So he comes, he's on his jetpack, and he comes flying down. And he's saving the day, basically. So
yeah, they all were saving the day.
Yeah.
All the people.
Yep.
All the Mandalorians were there. They were shooting everybody up so he could escape and get out of there, out of their country. Off the planet, I should say, not the country, but off the planet. But that was cool. But the only thing I didn't like so much about episode 2 was all the bloopers that were in it.
Oh, the continuity mistakes in that episode.
Was in that section.
There were just
So
lots and
much
lots and
of it.
lots of, like, in one, if you go back and you watch the episode, the only reason why I downgraded, I would have given episode 2 a 5-star rating, but I downgraded it. At first I gave it 4 stars, but then I upped it to 4.5 stars. But if you watch the episode, when he's walking through the cave area with the child walking behind him, and then he senses that something's going to happen, and when he's fighting those other creatures, those sand creatures, one moment he has his gun and he's shooting, and then the next quick shot he doesn't have the gun in his hand.
Anymore, no.
So, and just lots of mistakes all over like that. Like when he's with the Jawas, who still, the Jawas steal all his stuff off of the Razor Crest.
Right.
When he's with them and climbing, trying to reach in to get inside the sandcrawler, one moment when you look at him, he's got his blaster,
Right.
his pulse phase gun on the back, and then the next shot he doesn't have it on his back. So there's lots and lots and lots of continuity mistakes all the way through episode. And it was only that episode really that had all of them.
That was the only episode that ever came up. They must have fixed that problem in a heartbeat. People must have complained and everything about it. So who knows?
I don't know. I think maybe they just didn't have the footage or something, and they had no choice. Let's go back. Let's go back to YouTube and let's look at some of the questions people have been asking real quick. We're going to come back to YouTube real quick, guys, before we continue this recap of The Mandalorian Season 1. Okay, people are talking about the Ewok movies. They wish that they saw them on Disney+. I do too. Bob mentions that the Ewok movies are on Amazon. Bob, that is no longer correct. They're no longer on Amazon. I don't know when they took them off of Amazon. I don't know if it was the start of this year or last year, but if you do a search on Amazon, they're no longer on Amazon. So you cannot get the Ewok movies, period, at this point. I'll give you a quick update before we jump back in The Mandalorian. Next week is the week that I'm actually going to present our petition to Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger over at Disney and Kathleen Kennedy at Lucasfilm. Last time I checked, we were at almost 3,000 signatures. We were only 20 away, guys. So I'm going to print that next week. So if you guys have friends that still haven't signed that petition, I know I keep holding it, but next week I do have a mission. I will be presenting it to them. We only need 20 more signatures, so go to our petition, please. Let's get that 20 signatures so it's over 3,000. Let me see what else is happening. Bob agrees. He checked. They're no longer there. Okay, great. So let's continue.
Yeah, next is season 3, which is really, really good.
Episode 3, not season.
Episode 3. Isn't that where he went to the island? That's the island, but the land where all those people were at, was getting all those blue fish and all that.
Yes, the shrimp-looking stuff. Yeah. This is where this is the part where in the Mandalorian, it's kind of like he has a love interest.
Yes.
Which was cool.
It's really cool. And
the lady's beautiful.
She is.
Really, really great part. And this was the first episode that was directed by Deborah Chow.
That's right, yes.
So, and it had a lot of heart. It had that, I could tell it was directed by a female because it seemed to have a lot of heart this episode.
Yeah, it did, yes.
Yeah.
It had a little romance theme in it, too, so that was
the romance theme I like.
Yeah. The fight scene was good, too.
Oh, with the ATST?
Yeah.
The modified one that they had?
Yeah.
Oh, that was... Yeah,
that was good.
Yeah, I think did we give that episode 5 stars? Or real close?
No, we gave it 5 stars.
Oh,
3 was
with
5.
the AT and the red eyes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was a great episode. And Virginia on YouTube is saying, "Oh, is this my toy?" Yes, Virginia.
That's his toy.
Yes, Virginia. This is my toy.
That's his toy.
You know me. I'm a Toys R Us kid.
That's right.
So yeah. So episode 3 starts off with the Mandalorian. He's looking for a system or a place to go hide.
Right, basically.
A place that's off the map, a place that doesn't have a spaceport. He talks about this when he's kind of talking out loud to the child. He said, let's find a place where we could hide you. He calls the child, he goes, you little womp rat.
Yeah, that's right, a little womp rat.
Oh, I love it.
That's not really what he really is not a womp rat. He's a Yoda. He doesn't know that.
He's a Yoda. But I mean, again, the dialogue, the lines and the dialogue are well written in this episode.
Yes, they
Love
are.
it. And it's not just fan service, it's just good writing. Stop telling me that they're giving us fan service. This is just a well-written show.
It's a well-written show, yes, very much.
So it's also where he meets Cara Dune.
Yes. Cara
Dune shows up for the first time in episode 3.
Yes.
Cara Dune used to be an MMA fighter.
That's right.
She's badass. Oh, don't want to say that.
She, not he, but she is bad. That was a good fight scene between those two. So he got his, kicked.
By a girl.
Can you believe that? And she's not even a Mandalorian.
Yeah, well,
she's what is she, a storm killer?
She is a shock trooper.
Yeah.
From the Rebel shock trooper. Yep. She's great.
She was great.
She used to land like you, fly in.
Yeah.
Like you were talking about.
Yep.
For 30,000 feet.
That's right. She flew in all right.
Yeah.
And she flew on him, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Because that was fun.
Yeah. So, I mean, so they agree to, the Mandalorian agrees he's going to leave because she was there first.
Right.
But then, when he's preparing the Razor Crest to take off and leave with the child, some of the villagers show up.
Right.
And they know he's a Mandalorian. They know that that word is that you could ask help from a Mandalorian. So they're trying, and they say, we could pay you. Of course, they don't have hardly any money whatsoever. So what are they going to pay him?
That's true. But we are missing one of the part of that fight scene from those two. Is when the little baby comes out with a bowl of soup.
That was a funny moment.
And when they were laying down on the ground with each other side by side, he asked her, "You want a bowl of soup?" That was funny. I love that part.
Yeah, that was a really nice moment when after they were laying on the ground and they're at a standoff and they're going to both shoot each other.
That's right.
And dude, the kid is sitting there soup.
Slurping his soup.
I said it right. He's slurping on his soup, and you could hear him too, which was awesome.
Yeah, I know. It was definitely funny. And he's watching him too with big old eyes and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's taking the spoon and.
That
was
funny. So that was it. Then they agree to leave, and they're back, and the villagers, the two men come there, and they're trying to seek his help.
Right.
And so he decides to go and give the money to Cara Dune, who's played by Gina Carano, by the way.
Yes.
So they decide to go ahead and, and by the way, I haven't said this, but we all know the Mandalorian is played by Pedro Pascal.
That's right, yes.
And Grief Karga is played by Carl Weathers.
That's right.
And we mentioned who the client was played by.
That's right.
Anyway, so he goes over to Cara Dune and gets her to help out. So they're back at the village and they're trying to find out what's going on. And they said they're going to help them. But now suddenly they don't want to help them when they find out that ATST is there.
Yes.
So that kind of scares them, and they don't want to have any part of that whatsoever. So, but, the Mandalorian, again, who has heart, tells her, we need to help these people.
Yep.
And so they figure out a way, they get up a plan, they start training.
Yeah, they start training the people there to help fight this big old thing and this little band of pirates and stuff like that.
Yep.
But before they even did that, they just snuck into their little village and that's when they saw the ATST.
The ATST, yeah.
And then also
it's smaller because the ATTT or whatever it's
bigger.
4-1.
And they also blew up whatever they were making too in there also.
Well, at first they dug a big hole and they were trying to coax the person to come in and fall into the hole so it'd fall over and they could blow it up. And they wouldn't do it. They were losing and they couldn't get it to get into the hole. And Cara Dune had to jump out there and come to the rescue, and which wasn't the plan.
No.
And it all works out in the end.
It did.
She jumps out there, she coaxes it to move over, and then the Mandalorian, after it falls over, throws the charge, blows it up.
Yeah.
And of course, what happens when you cut the head off of with the rest?
Everybody else leaves in a hurry. Well, there was also a lot of those people who were killed too, the pirates.
Yeah.
So and of course, some of the villagers were, unfortunately got hurt also. But
yeah, that's true.
What can you say? That's all part of war.
It is. But one of the things, and I thought this too, by the way, guys, and some of you pointed it out to me. I thought that those people that were messing with the villagers, I thought they reminded me of Marauders from the Ewok
movies. Yeah,
the voices sounded similar even.
I remember you saying that too.
I wasn't I wasn't the only one. Other people sent me messages saying that they reminded them of the Marauders from the Ewok movies.
Yeah.
So that once again, they're probably getting ideas. They sounded like Marauders from the Ewok movies. Let's go back to YouTube and see what people are saying, so we don't ignore all our people on YouTube.
That's true. Yes.
They're saying that she's an MMA fighter, Gina Carano. I said Carino. Terrible with names.
Yes.
Devaney. Okay.
You got that one.
You know what that means, right, Virginia? Okay. Oh, Virginia, thank you very much for noticing I'm losing weight. Hey guys, it's been a lifelong struggle my entire life because on my mother's side of the family, I have the fat gene. So I get the weight. My dad's skinny, and my dad has hair. And on my mom's side of the family, all my uncles are fat and they have no hair. They're bald. So I got those, and I got the light-colored eyes from my mother, too. So I have green eyes thanks to her. That's probably my better feature. But anyway, thank you for noticing, Virginia. I'm trying hard. It is a long life struggle. Here's some trivia. What you guys didn't know is George Lucas and Lucasfilm asked me to lose 35 pounds to be Mace Tawani in Caravan of Courage because I was a chubby kid even back then. So, and I lost 30 pounds. They asked me to lose 35. I lost 30 pounds in a month.
Exercising,
running 2 miles
and dieting
a day.
too. To be able to do that, what you had to do.
Yeah. Okay, so I appreciate that. Thank you, Virginia. So this episode is about to end.
Yes, it is.
Right, and what happens is right as it's about to end, we see one of those bounty beacon things going off. So a bounty hunter shows up.
Yep.
And Cara Dune
Well,
saves the day.
Again, she saves the day. But you got to remember, he had the Mandalorian in his scope, and he also had the baby in the scope. And before he could pull the trigger on his gun at the baby, Cara Dune shot him in the back.
Yes, she did. She messed him up.
And when they rolled him over is when they found that puck for that child.
So, I mean, and before that happened, the Mandalorian and Cara Dune and the lady, the love interest, they were talking about leaving the child there. They were going to leave the child on this way out of the way, because they had already, I think it said like 3 weeks went by. So time had passed in the episode, and it said like 3 weeks later, and they were going to leave the child there. Of course, Cara Dune wants the Mandalorian to stay and become the husband of the widow.
That's right, yeah. And
she says you could just settle down here and live a calm life.
That's right, he could, but he says with his baby I can't, because they're going to keep sending more people to try to kill this baby.
Yep.
So he had to leave the planet.
So because of this happening, now even Cara Dune says to the Mandalorian, you got to keep running. Yeah. They're always going to come after you and she tells him basically, you got to go and take care of the client and cut off the head of the person that wants him. Otherwise, it'd never stop.
That's true.
That's how that episode ends. Episode 3. Then we got episode 4, which was. Let's go. Anybody remember episode 4?
I can't remember the name.
We're doing a whole recap.
It was actually good. Because we gave it a 4.5. Man, I can't remember.
Episode 4. I remember it. Episode 4. Episode 4 is called The Prisoner.
Oh yeah, The Prisoner.
It's where he goes and he goes to his friend who has one of those way stations,
Right.
and he's seeking help from one of his long-term friends who he's known forever, and he has a job for them. He needs them to break out a prisoner.
That's right.
On an Imperial prison ship, and that's where we get to meet a lot of really great characters.
Yeah. More characters.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
It was awesome, especially when he flew in there and he saw his old buddy and stuff like that. And I guess it was a female there too that he saw.
They were brother and sisters.
Hadn't seen in a while.
Right. They were brothers and sisters, and he had the guy who was breaking. They didn't tell him who he was breaking out.
No, they didn't.
It was someone who he left behind.
Yeah.
And it was his fault he was there to begin with.
It's true.
And then after he helps break them out, they trap him in there and they put him in the prison in the cage.
Right.
But of course,
he's a
Mandalorian. He sees a prisoner droid walking by, and he grabs him and finds a way to get out. And then he goes after them. Don't ever, ever, ever do something to the Mandalorian and expect him to not come after you.
Yeah, revenge for him is sweet. You know, it was like he caught all of them, and he turned the other guy in. But what's funny about it near the end, I won't go that far ahead yet. He did something to the three of them.
Yeah,
right?
you see that at the very, very end. Anyway, he goes after all of them, and he makes it look like he killed them. He takes them down one by one. He finally gets back to the ship. The guy who they broke out, the prisoner, convinces them not to kill him, to take him back. He goes, "You have a creed, and you took this job. You have to take me back." So he takes that little wimp back with him and the baby. And of course, in the midst of all this happening, there's these funny scenes with the child and the robot trying to find him, and he's hiding from the robot. It's kind of cute.
Yeah, it is, yes.
So he ends up taking him back to his friend, tells his friend, "I want my money."
Yep.
And he gets his money, so smart, Mandalorian's smart.
Oh, yes,
he gets paid for his job. As he's taking off, the best cameos ever in the history of Star Wars happen.
Yep.
He gets his money, he takes off, and of course his friend tells him to shoot him out of the sky.
Right.
You know, get rid of him. Wow, what a great friend, right?
Oh, a really great friend. So he reversed it, and he took his friend and did payback on that one.
Right,
so,
right.
I mean, it was so good. It was 3 different directors inside this TIE fighter.
Yes, that's what we're going to talk about, the cameo that happened.
Oh, yes.
It was great, guys. It was marvelous. It had Dave Filoni as an X-Wing pilot, Deborah Chow, and the director of that episode was in it.
Right.
I can't pronounce the guy's name anyway, but I apologize. I should know your name. That's really bad on me. But also, as going back to YouTube, Bob is talking about that's had Natalia Tina from Harry Potter.
Right. Yes.
Was in it with all the heavy makeup. Yep. So yeah, that was the episode she was in. So and then after we get this great cameo, and he's saved because the X-Wings show up, and his friends get blown up. It goes back to the Imperial prisoner ship, and
guess what?
They're all in cages like they did to him.
The same one that he was in. That was funny. I couldn't believe it. He didn't kill him. He just put him back in the cage what he was in.
Sometimes I don't know if that's a good thing. You know, it's great that the Mandalorian has heart, but you can't do that to all your enemies. Otherwise, they'll keep coming, right?
That's definitely true.
Yeah. So that was the cliffhanger at the end of the episode 4 that they're all still there. Okay.
Right.
The next episode. Episode 5, he gets a call from Grief Karga telling him about everything getting messed up there, right?
No, that was 7.
No, that's 7 and 8 is when they're battling it out there, but there's something before, there's 5 and 6
Maybe
before that.
6. 4 was different. 5 was different. Let me see. What happened to 5?
What happened in 5? Do you guys remember what happened in episode 5?
There wasn't the prisoner.
Anybody want to chime in here on YouTube while we're live?
Yeah, so we can remember what 5 was about.
Yeah, so... Oh, I know what it is. Okay, great. Episode 5. is when he helps that rookie bounty hunter that's in over his head.
Yeah, over his head, yes. Now
so he goes to, again, we're getting great. I knew right away he was on Tatooine.
Yes.
When it said Mos Eisley Spaceport. Remember when that happened?
I did. I heard that.
So that was awesome.
That was definitely awesome. Yes.
So he's back on Tatooine, and this is when we get
bounty hunter.
The young bounty hunter who doesn't know what he's doing.
She's so green, it's pitiful.
Right, and then we get the assassin that's played by the Asian actress.
She's played in a lot of movies.
She was in The Shield.
Yeah, she's done The Shield.
Remember The Shield?
The TV series Shield, yes.
Yeah, she was in that.
She was in that. She was in another movie we had seen too.
Well, she's in a lot of stuff.
I know. I can't remember what it was, but it was last year, and we saw her. The funny part about it, the next time I saw her, she was in episode 5 of The Mandalorian. I go, cool.
Right. Well, I mean, she was not only in episode 5 of The Mandalorian, she's... also, this episode, it's important to point out, this was the very first episode that was not written by Jon Favreau, episode 5.
That's definitely true.
It was, in the episode's called The Gunslinger, episode 5, and it was written by Dave Filoni.
Yes.
So Dave Filoni comes back and he directed this episode.
Yes, he did.
And what I thought was really kind of cool was how they went into the cantina.
Yes.
Remember they went in the cantina and the droids were actually behind the bar.
Yeah.
I guess
in New Hope there was no droids allowed in the New Hope.
Right.
So yeah, it was definitely funny because it was like, from the past to the future, you had, two different things, and the droids could go in and you get a drink. I don't drink, droids don't drink, but you get oiled up or whatever. So you can keep yourself nice lubed for those guys, and you get a drink for yourself, and do business there while you're there also.
So the bounty hunter has a bounty puck that he's trying to pick up an assassin that's played by the Asian actress Ming-Na Wen is her name, by the way.
Right.
And the assassin she plays is Fennec Shand is who she plays.
Yes.
And Fennec Shand, if you know anything about Star Wars, Fennec Shand is a lethal assassin. She works for the Hutts. Jabba the Hutt, all the crime syndicates. She's worked for all of them, so she's a real baddie.
Yeah. Well, Jabba the Hutt's no longer alive. Thank goodness on that part.
This is after Empire.
Thing,
This is past the Empire.
Way past the Empire.
So
100 years later, which is definitely funny.
Right. Okay. So we got it mixed up, guys. Episode 6 is The Prisoner, by the way.
Oh.
The one we just talked about as being episode 4, that's episode 6. And episode 4 was actually. Hold on. What's going on here? Hold on a second. Hold on. Episode 4 was called Sanctuary.
Sanctuary, yes.
The one that we skipped was The Sin.
Right.
We skipped over The Sin, that's why we're off.
That's right, yes.
Because episode 1 is just The Mandalorian, it's a pilot. Episode 2 is The Child. Episode 3 is The Sin. 4th is The Sanctuary.
Right.
We're still talking about everything. We're not missing anything, guys. We just skipped over The Sin.
Yeah.
So Sanctuary was episode 4, and then Gunslinger was 5, and then Prisoner
is 6.
Is right. Prisoner is 6. And episode 7 and 8 is the Reckoning and Redemption.
Redemption, yes.
So going back to the Ming-Na Wen one, the Gunslinger, is
episode 6.
Episode 6. Oh, it's episode 5. No.
5.
The Prisoner was 4.
Yeah.
We said The Prisoner at 4. We should have said it at 6.
6.
We're not worried, so we'll skip over The Prisoner. We already talked about that.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Gunslinger, this poor guy he wants to get into the guild, the Bounty Hunters Guild, and he's so green. He needs the Mandalorian's help.
Right.
So he convinces the Mandalorian to do it because of the money. He says, "I'll give you all the money." At first, the Mandalorian doesn't want to do it because he knows who Fennec Shand is.
Right.
He knows that she's a lethal assassin.
Yes.
So he agrees to finally help the child, and then we also get this really cool character. It's a comedian. She kind of reminded me of Rhea Perlman.
Right. Yes.
She's in the hangar.
Yeah.
She's watching the baby.
Watching the baby, yes.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Watching his fall.
Right. Watching it fall.
On cue.
As usual.
Yeah.
I'm going to put him away.
Yeah, let's put him away.
He's getting dangerous.
Yeah, and his gun too, and
Yes.
his jetpack. Okay, so it's a great episode. Ming-Na Wen does a great job. She's very lethal. The Mandalorian agrees to go ahead and try to get the bounty for him.
Right.
She's shooting him up. Oh, we get our first appearance from a dewback.
That's right, yes.
In this episode.
In this one, yes.
One of the other bounty hunters that was chasing her was on a dewback, and she shot the heck out of him.
Yep.
So, and later we get to see the Mandalorian ride the dewback. But
right.
The Mandalorian says she has the high ground. We got to wait. The only chance we're going to have is we wait until it's dark. So they wait until it's dark. He comes up with a plan to blind her in her scope.
Right.
You know, she's an assassin. She has a lethal sniper.
A night scope.
Yeah. So they agree to wait till night. They do it at night. They're able, because of that, the Mandalorian gets shot a couple times. He falls down. Yep. But the kid, the younger bounty hunter, manages to get up behind her. And they capture her.
Yeah. Well, there's a fight. They ensured first before they.
There's a little fight.
A little fight, but not much.
Right.
But there was a fight. You know, it was kind of, action, a little action right there.
Yeah.
And after she kind of lost, the Mandalorian came up behind her and said, "You're under arrest."
Right.
So that stopped.
And so, because she shot at the Mandalorian, shot him off, the speeder he was on, the speed bike he was on is no good. So they only have one speeder to take her and them back. So the Mandalorian remembers the dewback and tells the kid to go get it. The kid goes, "No, I ain't gonna go get the dewback because you'll leave me here." Smart. Yeah. That's the only thing smart that kid did.
Really.
But as he's off to go get the dewback, so they have more, so they could transport her.
Right.
Ming-Na Wen is using psychology to get to the kid's head.
That's definitely true.
She's talking about how he's wanted now by the guild for because of the child, and he's worth way more money than she is. His bounty's way higher. What are you doing with me? So she really gets in his head. So by doing that, he takes off. And so when the Mandalorian comes back, he shoots her.
Shoots her.
He ends up shooting her, trying to kill her because she basically just told him she's not worth anything.
That's right, and that's what you tried to do.
Right.
You tried to kill him.
Right. So,
funny part about it, he didn't kill her. He just only wounded her.
Well, we think he killed her at that point.
At that point, yeah. But near the end of the show, it's a little bit different story.
Yeah. No, we see that she's alive, but so he's basically. He takes back off to go get the child and wait for the Mandalorian. The Mandalorian shows up, thinks that she's dead too. He thinks she's dead. So he leaves her there. He goes back to the hangar. The kid is so green, it's not even funny. So he's stupid. So he ends up killing the kid, getting the child back.
Yeah. Scolding the lady who was supposed to watch him.
Yeah.
Not really yell at her, but he kind of scolded her because, protect the kid.
Sure.
And she tried to do her best, according to her.
Right. Well, it's okay.
It's okay.
It's all right. So anyway, after he shoots the kid, he doesn't need to worry about getting in a guild any longer.
That's definitely true. Well, I love the money.
Yeah. And he had a lot of money on him. So the Mandalorian, the Rhea Perlman type character says, "It's sad. I guess I'm not going to get paid." Oh, here comes the
pirate ship again.
Pirate ship. Let's see if we can see it. So what is this? The third time we've seen it since we started this podcast?
Yes, it's the third time. And then I'll make a little popping noise.
Bowman, and the starboard foxhole cannon and prepare to fire a warning shot. So as any curious pirates hide near the shore.
Yeah, really, huh? It'll wake you up when they shoot you if you're sleeping.
Yeah, they're gonna shoot this off. But okay, let's continue. I don't know if we could hear them talking or not. I'll pause when the gun goes off. But
right, yes. It's going to go right now.
nope. Okay.
Well, hold on. It's going to go. It gets to a certain point.
Anyway, so there he goes. There he goes. Only one shot. Okay.
Thank God.
So basically, she's sad thinking she's not going to get any money, but the kid had a lot of money. So she not only got paid, she got more money. So she's happy.
She was happy. Yes.
Yeah, she was very happy. So that's good.
So near the end of that show, a mysterious stranger comes up and sees that she's still kind of moving.
Exactly.
So he picks her up and takes her to wherever he's going to take her to.
And most people think that was played by the guy who played at the end in The Reckoning. The guy who played the Moff Gideon. Most people think that's him. I'm not so sure it's him. Some people think that was Boba Fett.
Boba Fett, yeah.
What do you think?
It could have been. It looked like his boots and his uniform that he was wearing.
Yeah.
You know, the cape he had on.
Yeah. I think
but that's all you saw of him, though.
Yeah, I think it was him. I think it was Moff Gideon. I don't think it's Boba Fett. But we never find out, so we don't know.
No, we don't know, because she's gone for now. Maybe she might show up in season 2. Who knows? We have to wait and see.
Okay, so basically the next episode happens. Oh, we have the prisoner one in between, which we put in the wrong spot. Sorry, guys. Then the next episode happens called The Reckoning. Yep. And what happens is the Mandalorian gets a signal. He gets another signal from Grief Karga.
Right.
And Grief Karga is telling him about how the Imperials have landed. They're really shooting up the place. Everything's really messed up. Just all hell's breaking loose. And
that's true. And he told him to bring him the child. If he does, he will be reinstated back into the Guild and all this stuff. But he had a couple things up his sleeve before he went back to do something over there.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Mandalorian doesn't trust him, and he shouldn't trust him.
No,
Grief Karga.
Sure.
But it's the only way to work this whole thing out. And the Mandalorian had remembered that Cara Dune said, unless you cut off the head or whatever that's going after you,
that's right.
They're going to always come forever until you stop it.
True, very true.
He comes up with a plan, the Mandalorian. He goes and visits Cara Dune.
Right.
He enlists her help.
That's right.
He also goes back to the planet and asks Quill for his help. Quill doesn't want to give him help. He just wants to help him with nursing the child, take care of the child.
Yes. That and the robot. He found the robot at IG-88.
Yes, in that episode we find it out.
And then he went through and he reprogrammed it.
Yes.
Not to kill, but to
take care of.
To take care of the baby.
And then later he becomes a nursing droid for the child.
That's right.
But yeah, and the whole time the Mandalorian's not buying it. He doesn't think that that you could reprogram an assassin and a bounty hunter droid.
That's definitely
But I believe you can.
I think you can.
In my opinion.
Yeah, my opinion.
So they decide to go back. They actually take the blurgs with them, by the way.
Yes, they did.
And of course Quill says the blurgs are going. I have spoken. Says that again.
That was it.
That was again the great line.
He could not argue with that one. That was for sure. So if he wanted his help, those blurgs had to go with him.
Right.
Yeah,
so
they were well used. That's for sure.
Right. So they head back to the planet. They meet outside the city. With Grief Karga has a couple bounty hunters with him. Unfortunately, we have just met Dominic Pace, who plays Gecko the bounty hunter.
Right,
He wasn't in that episode, but Dominic, you should be in every episode. You were great.
Kidding.
Dominic Pace played Gecko the bounty hunter. He's a good friend of ours now. He was in episode 1 and 3.
Yes.
Look it up if you don't know who Gecko the bounty hunter is. The guy himself. He's a great man. He's been an actor for over 20 years and a lot of stuff. He is a great man. Love you, Dominic.
That's right.
So,
we do.
They, of course, don't trust each other. Grief Karga wants to take the child back, and the Mandalorian doesn't want to take the child. He wants the child to stay with Quill.
Quill, yes.
And they'll fake it and make it look like that. Oh, that's beforehand.
That's way beforehand.
I'm getting ahead of myself. Back up.
That's
okay.
Way back up.
So they decide to go ahead and they talk about the plan they want to do. They camp. And then at night, these
pterodactyl-looking
looking
creatures
come.
come and they attack them, and they have poisonous.
Yeah, they have on their claws. Yeah, their talons are poisonous. And by the way, guys, those pterodactyls again, they stole that from Ewoks About a For Endor.
That's right.
If you guys remember, Sindel there was a pterodactyl creature that looked a lot like those that was flying and grabbed Sindel, and Wicket had to jump and save her.
Yes.
So even if it wasn't the exact same one, they got the idea, another idea from the Ewok movies. Thank you again for doing that.
Yeah. So they had a battle there. They fought those things off. It took one of the blurbs.
Yep.
And it killed one while it was there, but they also killed one of their creatures, also.
Right.
And then they tried to take the Mandalorian, and that didn't happen.
Yep.
What's his name? He got hurt.
Greef Karga.
Greef Karga
got mortally wounded. Yes. And so what happens is the child comes up to him.
Yep.
And here's a crossover, because they did this in The Rise of Skywalker, where they showed that Jedis could heal. They have the power of healing. So the child goes up to Greef Karga and heals him.
Right.
And that does something to him. That does something to Greef Karga, and we find that out in the next scene. Because later we find out that they were going to really just ambush them and take the child.
That's right.
And Greef Karga changed his mind because the
child
child saved him.
Yeah.
So
you got to remember too, also that they can also, if you're being attacked, they will also help defend you too. So
exactly.
That's what happened to Carl Boone. It happened to her when she was trying to do an arm wrestling job with him. And
we didn't talk about that, but there was a scene where the child, when they were on the ship and they were playing around, they were arm wrestling,
right?
And the child thought that Cara Dune was hurting his dad.
Yep.
Well, that's what we find out too in the next episode.
That's right.
That he's the father figure. But so he starts force choking.
Yes.
No, don't do that. She's good, which is cool.
That kid tried to kill me. and then Quill goes, "Oh, that was very interesting that he could actually do that." Yeah. So that was.
And they talk about the Mudhorn and what he did.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that all made sense.
The child heals Greef Karga. He decides to kill his bounty hunters, and they come up with a plan where the child's going to stay with Quill with the IG-11.
Right.
And they're going to pretend like the Mandalorian's going to pretend like he's the prisoner.
Prisoner, yes.
They capture the Mandalorian and the child. So the Mandalorian then puts on the cuffs. He's their prisoner.
Right.
And they go back and they go to meet with a client. Yep. And of course, when they say they want to see the baby, they say the baby's sleeping.
Right.
And then he gets a call from and it's Moff Gideon.
Yeah.
First time we see him.
That's
in episode 7. So Moff Gideon says, "Did you check to see if the child was there?" And he says no, and then guess what happens to everybody there?
Oh, there was a big giant shootout.
Right.
And they lost, and the other side won because no one drew their weapons.
That's right.
Because they didn't know they were there originally.
So Moff Gideon basically takes death troopers, badass death troopers, and shoots up the entire place, kills all his men, including the client, Werner Herzog. The guy doesn't care about his own people.
No.
He kills the client. He kills all the
everybody
stormtroopers. And so now they're pinned in. They're trapped. So the Mandalorian radios to Quill, telling him it's a trap. It's a trap. It's a trap. Get the child into the Razor Crest. Hurry, 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 hurry. And they forgot to block block. It's not called block, but encode their transmissions.
Yeah.
So they were on an open channel. So some biker scouts hear them saying that, so now they know that the child's not there. They jump on the bikes and head towards the child.
Yep.
Moff Gideon comes down in this beautiful, great TIE fighter.
Yes.
Oh,
really?
Oh, it's nice.
Awesome one.
It's
nice. Definitely awesome.
Yeah. So he comes down,
especially when it folds his wings.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
It folds. The wings fold very differently.
Yes.
Which is something new. It's great. I can't wait to get that Moff Gideon's TIE fighter.
Right.
So he comes down. He's talking to him. Great character. Very strong. Great performance by the actor.
Yep,
He's telling him, "You don't know how important this child is to me. This is." He's just going off on him, basically.
That's true. He is.
And the Moff Gideon is played by Gina Carlo. Is it Esposito or Gina Carlo Esposito? Yes.
Esposito, yes.
Great actor. Okay, so he plays Moff Gideon.
Right.
And he's doing his whole speech thing. As he's doing this, the Mandalorian's going crazy, radioing back and forth. Quill, answer me. And then you see that Quill was shot.
And so was the last Blurg too was shot also, which was kind of sad.
It was a sad moment.
It was a sad moment.
It was a sad moment because I like Quill.
Yeah, I did too.
And you see him dead.
Killing off the character already. That's not good.
And then you see the last shot is the speeder bike, the biker scout sweeps up and grabs the child.
Yep.
So now they have the child, and
That's
then
right.
it ends.
It ends after that.
So, episode 8 starts off where the other one ended, right?
Right, it did. It's right after the one ended.
Episode 8.
They were taking they had the child already waiting for instructions to do with the kid, and they start hitting the poor child.
Right.
You don't hit kids. You don't hit babies.
Yeah, the thing that happened.
Yeah.
The thing. I mean, it was funny because they did it once, but they overdid it.
Yeah,
and you don't hit that. It was great when the IG-11 came up.
Oh, most definitely.
But the episode 8, which is Redemption,
right,
starts off. And by the way, Redemption was directed by the guy who played IG-11.
Right.
Takawiti Wati, or I don't pronounce it, but he directed it. Great episode 2, and it was great. But the stormtroopers, they have the child. They're waiting word, and they keep raiding him back and forth. And they say, "Hey, we just killed another more of his people. Oh, he killed this. Oh, we're waiting on this. Oh, someone mouthed off to Moff Gideon, so he killed them and choked them."
Oh yeah.
And then you see them try to shoot, and there's this little object in front of them. It's 5 feet in front of them, and they can't even shoot it.
They can't hit a bag even.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I couldn't believe it. I wonder how they became stormtroopers if you can't shoot.
Well, we all know that stormtroopers can't shoot. That's always been part of Star Wars.
They proved
you know
it on
what?
This one.
I was going to say something about that, about why stormtroopers can't shoot. Stormtroopers can't shoot because of the helmets that they have on. They can't see out of them. So that's why they can't shoot. And I don't know why people have never said that.
Yeah, I know,
they make it sound like, they don't have any, their view is not obscured or something. But think about that for a moment. They have those helmets on. There's a reason why they can't shoot. So it's really not their fault, but they should design a better helmet.
That's true. They should.
So
they didn't.
So basically, they're. Hold on, guys, 1 second. I want to go back to our comments. See if anybody left. We're going to go back to Facebook Live and see if we have any more comments, guys.
Right.
Okay. No more. Okay, we don't have anything new. People are introducing themselves to each other.
That's good, yeah.
Bob met Virginia, and they told each other where they live. So, welcome, you guys. Okay, so, but guys, you overdid it. You don't keep hitting the baby. Don't keep hitting the child.
No.
Once or twice they're okay, but then you started hitting it again.
Yeah.
But it also made it great when they got killed.
It's definitely true, especially when IG-11 caught him doing that too.
Pounded them.
Yeah, he pounded them in.
Yeah.
So they got what they came back. That's called karma.
This is true.
They got what they deserved, that's for sure. So, and then we went on from there.
Then, they're still trapped. The IG-11 now has the child, so the child is safe. Moff Gideon knows every single person that's in there. He names all of their names. We find out that Cara Dune is Cara Cynthia Dune. Her middle name is Cynthia, and she's from Alderaan.
Yep. No wonder she's pissed off.
Yeah, right?
Because they destroyed
the Empire.
the
Empire blew up her planet.
Yep.
We find out that the Mandalorian's name is Din Djarin.
Yep.
And his parents and him were from Mandalore. Right. In the Siege of Mandalore, the Mandalorian saved him from that battle droid robot.
Yep.
And he's not really Mandalorian.
No.
and he addresses that. He says that to be a Mandalorian, it's a creed. It's not that you are born
there.
as a Mandalorian. It's a creed.
Yes, it is.
So
yeah,
just like
cool.
Boba Fett and Jango Fett are not Mandalorian, it's a creed. So
it's a creed, yes.
They seem to be answering a lot of things that fans want to know about.
Right.
And
yes,
that part of The Mandalorian is great. It's great to have a television series because you got 8 episodes and you can answer all the stuff that you want answered.
Right.
You have more time
True.
to do it. So that's a good thing about having a TV show.
Yep.
So they're trapped, and they've said all these things about who they are. Yep. And then the IG-11
with the baby comes flying in with one of those speed bikes and starts shooting everybody up.
Yeah,
that was funny.
Yeah, he's shooting at everybody, and then they all decide to try to shoot their way out.
Yep.
They all come out. They're shooting back and forth, and in all that exchange, the Mandalorian Din Djarin now gets hit in the head. He gets his head. They ring his bell.
Yeah, definitely ring his bell. All right.
So
unfortunately, he was a little bleeding a little bit, but not much. I don't think much, but he wanted to die because he couldn't.
Yeah, he just said, "Leave me alone, let me die.
Yeah.
I'll protect you guys." And they find that they could go underground to where the other Mandalorians were, and they could sneak out that way through the underground areas. The IG-11 cuts open the bars that they couldn't get open
earlier,
where they found the way to get underneath the ground. So they go underneath the ground. He gives the IG-11 gives the baby to Cara Dune, says, "Watch out for him. I'm going to stay here with the Mandalorian." After they leave, the Mandalorian's trying to get him to leave.
Before they left, a fire trooper came in and started burning everything up, and he got into the doorway with his fire.
Yes.
And a Baby Yoda stopped it and threw it back at him, and he burned up instead.
That's
right. Everybody in there. So that was pretty cool.
That's right. The Baby Yoda again used the
His force
and stopped the fire from coming and shot it back at him with his hand.
That's right.
And it makes for a very funny line later we'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah.
But so they leave. Now that they're leaving, the Mandalorian's saying, "Let me go." The IG says, "Let me take your helmet off so I could treat you with this bacterial spray that'll heal you." He goes, "No, I can't take off the helmet. It's my creed. No living person's supposed to see me without my helmet on." And the IG tells him, "I'm not a living person, so you won't be." He basically convinces them to let him take the helmet off. And for the first time in Episode 8, we get to see Pedro Pascal's face as the Mandalorian.
That's true.
And it's glorious and it's wonderful.
Yes.
I'm glad I got to see you, Pedro, and take your helmet. He did a great job. He was very emotional scene. He got, but he was convinced to take his helmet off because the IG-11's not a living person.
Right, and he healed him.
And
he did.
The next thing we see them downstairs. He has his helmet on, and he's already healing pretty fast.
Yeah.
So they continue their journey.
And they find the armorer again, or armorist, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah,
down there inside their hideaway.
They run into the armorer who's trying to clean up, but at first we don't know she's there to clean up.
Right.
You see all these Mandalorian helmets, and you think that there was a battle and they killed all the Mandalorians. I started to get emotional for them. I thought something had happened to them. But they left their stuff behind, and the armorer's cleaning up, and so nothing's left before they leave. So she ends up having a conversation with the Mandalorian.
Right.
She now tells the Mandalorian that he needs to be since that's his youngling, he needs to be the father,
protect it until he gets
and be the father and protect it until he
goes to his people.
Until he finds the species of the Baby Yoda.
Yep.
Once he finds the species of the Baby Yoda, he could give them to them, and or people that use the Force or whatever. So, and she gives him, the Mandalorian, his signet. It's a signet of 2.
Right.
She puts it on his side, so he also gets his signet. So the Mandalorian got a signet,
he got a signet finally,
which is great.
Yep. And he also got his jetpack too, which is also
that is another thing. She had a jetpack
for it, but she said it has to conform to you when you put it on.
Yeah, it takes some getting used to.
Used to it, yes.
It doesn't listen to your commands right away until it knows you.
Yes.
And he said he had already, as a youngling and as a kid, he had already used a jetpack, so he's trained on one. Okay, so they end up going underneath the ground, and then she tells them that they could escape through. The armorer tells them to go through the lava flow, and the lava flow will go out to the river, and they could escape.
Right.
So they go underneath where the lava's at, and there's a boat there. And on the boat is a droid, an R2 unit.
An R2 unit, yeah.
Which is the coolest R2 unit ever. It stands up. It has arms.
Everything.
I can't wait until that toy comes out. I know, Virginia, you know I'm going to have that R2 toy.
Oh, of course you will.
Anyway, the R2 has legs and arms and everything. They ended up, as they're going out to get away through the lava flow, the IG and the Mandalorian are able to see that there are stormtroopers waiting there. A whole battalion.
Whole battalion of them, yeah.
So
the IG says, I need to go self-destruct. I can't be captured.
Right.
That was still in him.
Yes.
It wasn't taken out of him.
Even though he was reprogrammed.
But so he got into the hot fire or molten river.
Yep, he got in the river.
And he did his thing.
Yeah, he then lets the Mandalorian know that that's still part of his program. He can't be captured. He has to self-destruct. He gets into the lava. He walks out in front of them as they're about ready to attack him. He blows himself up. So we lose the IG-11.
Maybe.
A sad moment.
We'll see.
We lost IG-11.
I know.
We lost Quill. We lost some great characters. I love these characters already, and we are losing all of them.
But they lost a whole platoon, too.
They did lose a whole platoon, those jerks.
That's what saved him, because he did that. Now all the platoon is dead. But there was a surprise that was not waiting. They didn't know it was coming. What's his name?
Yep. So, after they get out there and are trying to get away, Moff Gideon has his TIE fighter. He shows up, and the Mandalorian uses his new jetpack, flies up there, attaches himself to the TIE fighter, tries to get in and kill him.
Yep.
That doesn't work, so he backs up and he shoots, cuts off or shoots something. What's he do?
He puts two of those bombs on there.
He uses the bomb to blow up the side of it, to disable it, to crash and kill him. And then he lands, and then
they take off.
No, they land after he does that, and Moff Gideon's TIE fighter explodes, and he's done. They go back. The Mandalorian goes back to them. They all exchange their goodbyes.
Right.
He's going to leave with the child to try to find the home world or find his species.
Right.
Cara Dune decides she's going to stay there with Grief Karga.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's going to happen, and they all say goodbye. He takes off with the child, and then right at the end, we have another great cliffhanger.
Oh, yes.
It goes right back to Moff Gideon's ship,
Yep.
and we see the best thing I've seen that we've been given since in the history of all of this.
Oh, yes. It was the black saber. It was cool. Cutting through that metal.
Moff Gideon had the Mandalorian's black saber, and he cuts his way out.
Yep.
And it's beautiful, this black lightsaber. So it makes me believe that Moff Gideon. What do you guys think? Do you think Moff Gideon is force sensitive? Does he have abilities? Let us know in the comments below. Let us know. So
well, he said on that though, he got the black saber. He was on his planet, so he might have got it from there, from one of the warriors.
It could be that he's not force sensitive at all, and he's just stealing people's stuff because he's a jerk. But I kind of think Moff Gideon might be force sensitive. Let me know in the comments below, guys. Let us know.
We'll see.
Hey, guys, that is it. The episode ends on that cliffhanger. That is it. That's the whole first season of The Mandalorian. That's our recap here, our recap of Season 1 of The Mandalorian. All 8 episodes. They were great. I loved it. I can't wait until Season 2 coming up. In November. Wow, we got a long wait.
A long wait. We got 11 months to wait before that sucker comes back out again. But it's going to be a great one.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
Well, now we'll see what happens there as the saga continues.
Yep. In the meantime, guys, thank you very much for joining us on our second podcast of Season 2. We're in Season 2 of All for Sci-Fi.
Yes,
this is our second podcast of the year. Guys, we always say this every week. Go out and do something nice for somebody. Whether it's mowing someone's lawn who's sick, Whether it's an old lady carrying groceries, do one act of kindness this week. God will bless you for it.
That's true.
Let's all do that, because as a Star Wars community and as for sci-fi community, everybody that loves sci-fi movies, this is how we are. This is how we are. That's how my dad raised me. He told me to be a nice guy, and that's how I'm going to be the rest of my life. Hey guys, we'll be back next week at 2:15 or 2:30 for the podcast. We'll be live doing the live stream in the trivia game from 10 till 1 here at Disneyland at Galaxy's Edge. Thank you very much for joining us.
And have a great week, and stay safe, and don't do anything wrong.
Yes. Couldn't have said it better, Catherine.
That's right.
Thank you guys. God bless. May the Force be with you. Till the spires. Thank you guys.
Yes. Bye-bye.